Good morning, everybody. Diego Martinez and Waking Up California. What a great year has happened, right? It's a little bit past 9 o'clock. We're running a little bit behind today on coming on. I'd like to welcome everybody, Facebook and my Instagram followers today. And if you guys are on there just joining us, hit like and let your other friends know that we're doing here. How's everybody doing? End of the year's coming, right? I mean, we are just a few days away from 2022. Can't wait till that happens, right? New congressional lines have been drawn. So now is when you're going to see a lot of candidates come out and start running for Congress. Start keeping an eye on this. Why is this so important? Why is Congress so important? Well, let's start with the fact that with Congress, we can flip the House. Congress does federal laws, which do affect us in California and every other place. This has been a crazy year, right? We're hoping for a better year next year. We're going to keep the program going. Waking Up California will still be on every Thursday morning. We didn't come on last week because of Christmas and everything else that was going on. We're going to be a lot more consistent with being here every Thursday morning. We have a lot of decisions to make in my campaign right now. We're looking at running for governor. We're also looking at a couple of second options that we have to see what's best suited for us and what's best suited for California and giving us an opportunity to be able to win a seat. And that's what's important, to focus on legislation. That's how we're going to make the proper changes. That is one thing that I did want to talk about is legislation. We need to look at assembly. A lot of new things are coming out this year, right? There's a new election in June. I'm going to tell you guys this. Let's get involved. Let's get involved with each candidate that's running. Let's get involved with the candidates that are already in office. For example, in my district, Tom McClintock is our congressman. Do we want him to stay? Should we look at somebody else? Did he do a good enough job for us? I'm not telling you which way to vote. What I'm saying is these are things that we really need to start looking at in the future, especially if you're a Republican or a conservative and you want to know what's going on and how to make a difference. This is the time. This is the time that we actually all get together and look at every single candidate that's running for office and say, hey, I like what this person did. Or, hey, I don't like these people. We need somebody different. You want to make a difference? This is the time that we make a difference. Let's start looking at your assemblyman or woman from your district. What have they brought to you? What have they done? Can you get a hold of them? Have you gone to where they have spoken? Are they speaking anywhere? Those are all important stuff that we need to look at when we're electing people. It doesn't matter whether they're running for Congress, assembly, superintendent, or governor. Why? Because what happens is we get over flooded at the end of a race and we really don't know who's running for what. At the end of the day, we go and we vote for an R or a D or whatever because we don't know what that person stands for. That happens in every race. We need to start getting more involved in small stuff. When these people have rallies, fundraisers, or whatever, we need to start attending them. Not because we're supporting them, but we need to know what they're about. And you don't know what somebody's about till you get face to face with these people. Now, talking about congressional lines, and this is why this is important. We have lost a seat in Congress because our population keeps leaving California. The reason that is because jobs keep leaving California, and our governor makes it a lot harder for small businesses to stay in business in California. So a lot of businesses are leaving California to other red states where they can actually grow their business. We talked about this before. 2024, generators, weed eaters, chainsaws, will no longer be allowed, will no longer be able to be here so new in the state of California. So we just took these small businesses out of business here in California. This is why companies are leaving. Where does that start? Let's go back to legislation. That and no cash bail is driving out folks by the dozens. The no cash bail is a joke. If SB 262 passes, That's their way around saying there is cash bail, but there won't be because nobody will be able to stay in business. You can't afford not to make a profit to stay in business. You're not in business to be a nonprofit. You're in business to make a profit. You're in business to take the liability and the responsibility. The state will take that away from bail bonds companies as SB 262 passes. So please go to your legislatures and tell them no. Stop with SB 262. Do not back it. Why? You're going to let criminals out on the street. You're going to put the more responsibility on judges, and judges are tightening up, especially with what happened where that guy got out on bail and killed 8 people. The families of those 8 people were talking about suing the judge. So now everybody pays the price. Now bail's going up, but now our legislation in California doesn't believe in law and order for some reason. Prop 47, they sold it to us with a bag of goods. We need to repeal Prop 47. We need to bring it back on the ballot, and we need to say, no, we don't want that. We actually want law and order back here in California. Laguna Beach has also adopted the no gas engines and boot at all excuse me. That's where it hits. And we'll talk about the no gas generators. And now, remember gas generators. I've been out of power in my house for 4 days. I just got power yesterday. My house been ran on generators for 4 days. Takes you away from the internet. So you don't have internet, you don't have cable, but at least I have power, I have hot water, and my electricity runs, right? My house runs on a generator when the power goes out. The problem with that is in 2024, you cannot go buy a new generator to generate your house. Now, a lot of you guys out there have toy haulers, fifth wheels, or depend on these things to live on. There's people that depend on these RV kind of things to live in. Well, they're ran on generators when you're off grid. What happens when you can no longer buy parts or a new generator? You have to go buy used. That's what they're pushing us to doing. So just like Terry said over here, that is going to cause jobs because the gardeners, carpenters, how are they going to do this? Yeah, I know the battery operator drills. We all use them. They're great. But are you really taking them to a heavy duty job? And are they lasting you all day? Well, they do because you have the generator running, which is charging your batteries. I've been at plenty of job sites. That's what we do. Hook it up to a generator, plug in the batteries while we use a different battery. Well, if that generator's gone, how are we going to charge our batteries? So we're going to have to spend more on electricity at home. Now, for those of you guys that have solar, the government's trying to instate now that they want you to pay for the upkeep on the grid. That means the power that you sell back to PG&E instead of you getting a check or credit is going to go towards having kept up the grid. Basically, we're producing too much power. They can't store it. So now they want to charge you for that store. Doesn't make sense. They're trying to do everything possible to get every cent out of us. They're taxing us to death. That's the reality of it. So we got to change California. How do we change California? A concrete saw will never work on a stupid battery. It's Terry, you're right on that. It won't. There's a lot of stuff that won't work on a battery. And if you don't have a generator, how are you going to charge your batteries? We, as Californians, need to start standing together and united. And I know I say that all the time. I know that sometimes I say, hey, both parties have failed us and people get upset with me. But the reality is our representation has failed the California people. Why? Different reasons. Maybe because there's a majority Democrat legislation. Maybe because the majorities are Democrats in the House and are the ones who are making the bills, and we don't have enough strong Republican conservative people out there who are standing up and saying enough is enough. United, we can win. The way we are right now, nobody's going to win anything. Start looking at candidates who are running. It doesn't matter who they are. Start looking for who's best suited for the job, who's going to take our best interest in line. Otherwise, don't vote. And for those of you out there, and I know I have friends, excuse me, who have told me they're not voting. Your vote counts. 1 vote, 2 votes, 3 votes can make the difference in an assembly, a superintendent, a congressman's race. Vote. Don't sit on the sidelines because you're not helping anything. You're not helping anything. You're not being a rebel. You're helping the other side win. A no vote is a yes vote for Democrats or anybody else that you don't want in office. Remember that all the time. What happened in the recall, we cannot allow to happen again. We have got to get out. We have got to get out there, and we have got to start voting. But more than that, we have got to get behind candidates that want to get out there. That's the grassroots candidates. Those are the candidates that don't have a lot of fame, don't have a lot of money, but their hearts are in the right place. Their ideas are in the right place, and they cannot be bought. That is the difference. It may power a small drill, but to make everything battery to operate is hard. You can't do construction. You can't do a lot of jobs without these generators and without these other stuff that we need. So what I encourage everybody to do, start getting involved, start writing your legislation and telling them this is obsolete. Why are you guys doing this? We need more transparency from our government officials. We need that from our assemblymen, our congressmen, and our senators. We have got to start protecting our jobs because otherwise we will not have a job. Unfortunately, that's where we're headed. What am I doing? That's a good question. We're looking at different options. Just leave that on the table. We're looking at a congressional seat. I might be running for Congress. We have to make up our minds here in the next couple of weeks. We've been doing a lot of research, me and my team, of what districts can be won. I need to be able to win a district, not just run because we're a nuisance to somebody. It takes a lot of money to run for governor. We have not been able to fundraise the kind of money that we expected to be able to run. So we're in that, do we continue and try to raise the money, or do we look at a seat that we can win? I want everybody to hear it from me before they hear it from anybody else. We are looking at 2 congressional districts that are able to win, and we are looking at Congress. We are looking at U.S. Congress for different reasons. I want to be able to make a difference. U.S. Congress can make a lot of difference in a lot of people's lives, and we could always come back to California and help California out with some of the federal problems that are going on right now, like the wildfires, our forests. A lot of the lands that back into California are federal land that the federal government is avoiding. So being in Congress, we can fight for our federal land. We can fight to protect our wildlands and our forest systems through the federal government where it needs to be, so we can take care of the BLM land, the land that's federally owned, and we can maintain those forests. Second part of being in Congress, I can also fight for water and the water rights and how much water, federal water we're dumping into the ocean compared to what we need to keep in California to make it viable for the state, for our farmers, for our dairy, for our fishermen, for everybody. Need to keep fighting for our water rights. Those are a lot of the stuff. So this is stuff that we can do as being in Congress compared to trying to run again for governor of the state of California. Not that I don't want to, but the reality is to be a governor in the state of California, you got to have a lot of money and a lot of support. And we got a lot of support. We just didn't have the money to continue going forward. So at this moment, we're leaning towards a congressional district by my house. It's been a Democratic district since 2013. The Democrat in office in that region has not done anything, and his voting record is really bad. So we believe that we have a great opportunity to take that sector. You will find out being governed that to have the follow corruption rules, not people's rules. Well, I think that a lot of that we went to allowing people to rule people and sway people. When I got into this, it was to help keep jobs in California because my job was at risk. Still is, every day. Every day I'm waiting for Gavin Newsom to sign SB 262, and they tell us that January we won't have a job. And then the bill industry will have to go back, get a petition back, put it back on the ballot, and do the whole thing like Prop 25 again. I'm not doing this for the fame, and I'm not doing it for the money. Lord knows that you spend way too much money in a campaign to make 120,000 a year. My reasons for running for office are to help us, the blue collar worker, the normal everyday person who gets up every day and struggles to be able to make a living. Talking to my mom this morning, and she told me, you know how much oil is these days? She's all, I used to be able to buy oil for $1.50. Now it's $6 when I went to the store right before Christmas. That's what's going on in our state. These are the everyday problems that most people don't worry about. Our legislation that's been in office forever forgets about. Why? Because we're paying for it all. In the next couple of weeks, I will be announcing what I'm doing. As of right now, we're still eligible to run for governor. We're still with the state for running for governor. Financially, we're nowhere near being able to run for governor. So we are looking at different options, like I said, and I'd rather tell everybody that in person or via video than you find out in a couple of weeks, hey, what happened? I'm not dropping out because I don't want, because I don't think we can win. I'm dropping out because we probably just can't afford to run. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you think that people will vote for you because you have the right ideas, because you have them in mind. Unfortunately, it's politics, and if you don't have the big, deep pockets, you won't be able to run or be able to be a governor in this state that's ran by money and by being popular. So by the next week, I will have an answer for everybody of what exactly I'm doing. I will put it out there. We are looking at a couple Congress seats that are very winnable. We're looking at blue districts because if we could flip the House, we can control the House, we can control the narrative, and we can help a lot more people that way than wasting a lot of money trying to run for governor on a corrupt California system. So any of you guys have any questions, please feel free to put on there. This is one of my toughest lives that I have to actually admit that I might not be able to afford to be able to do something and being able to run for office. It's been great, and the support's been tremendous. We did run on the recall, and a lot of you guys supported me, and I appreciate it. We ended up 27 out of 48. And for me, first time running, never did this before. I don't think it's a failure. I think actually we ended up fairly good. Terry, you're laughing about what you just said, and had a conversation with somebody yesterday. We were talking about what I should do. Would be in our best interest for the state of California, for me, and to be able to win. And somebody said, run as a Democrat. Diego Martinez, put a D in front of it. The biggest problem with that is I wouldn't want to lie to anybody. I don't think a party defines who you are. I think a party can help you win. So yeah, I could run as a Democrat, but I wouldn't be true to each and every single one of you, and I wouldn't be true to myself. But I would win. And do you have to be a Democrat the whole time that you're there? No, because your voting pattern is going to be who you are, not which party you're with. But I will not do that for those reasons. I don't want to deceive anybody. I believe that the districts that we're looking at to run for Congress, we can win as a conservative Republican. I think that at some point you kind of have to take a better look at what you're doing and who you want to be. I have somebody trying to come on, so I went ahead and accepted you, so come on in. JP, are you in there? Hey, buddy.
Hey, Diego.
How's it going?
How's it going, man?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. So I heard you're running for Congress now.
We haven't quite officially said what we're doing, but we are looking at 2 congressional districts. Unfortunately, I had to come up with the solution that we just did not fundraise enough money to run for governor.
And I'd suggest you run for Congress, too. I think you could get a lot done in Congress, you know. Being governor, you might not get a lot done. I mean, this is a blue state.
And we're looking at all those options, you know, and just exactly what you said. What can you get done? and a blue state if you don't have your assembly in line, if you don't have your house in order. So we're looking at a district that's really beatable. The strongest district that we're looking at, the Democrat's been in office since 2013. He's been challenged twice by two different Republicans, and they didn't get enough votes. We looked at the candidates that ran those districts, and we figured out what we could do different than what they did to try to get those votes.
Right, yeah. It's all about name recognition, too. You're going to need a lot of name recognition. That's it's been kind of the theme with a lot of campaigns I've helped out. You're going to need to, find who you know, the most powerful person you know, and then just go from there, I guess.
Well, you got to remember, when you're running for Congress, you're running a smaller district, smaller area.
I mean,
We had 58. We have 58 counties to cover. If you're running for Congress, you got maybe 6 districts to cover. So it makes a huge difference.
yeah, it does, and it's definitely an easier game to do. But you still need to, have people know you.
We're funny you brought that up because we were having that discussion yesterday. The good thing is in Northern California, a lot more people know me than, even though quite a bit of people know me in Southern California, it wasn't enough to win government, but it could be enough to win a congressional seat. Not only that, it gives us a leg up from somebody who hasn't ran before or somebody who's not in these districts that they don't know us. So
Right.
we have a little leg up. Running during the recall really helped my name recognition a lot more. Now we just could focus on a smaller sector of it and flood that area with half the cost of what it would have cost us to try to get half of California done.
Yeah. So, that sounds like a good idea, Congress, and I really think that should be what you're considering.
Well, as a business person, you got to know when to look at your profit and loss, and you got to know when you're losing and what it takes to win. And unfortunately, we don't have that deep of pockets to be able to win a gubernatorial race.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's going to be what you're running on for Congress?
You know what? It's funny because you could run the same thing that you ran in as a governor for Congress, because Congress has a lot to do with what happens in each state. Not only that, it has a lot to do with the federal.
But not exactly. There's still some national stuff you could focus on, like immigration moratorium or whatever.
Well, I ran on an immigration reform for California. We could take our immigration reform program and put it to the United States and get immigration finally taken care of. Because Congress is the one that votes on those bills and passes those laws. You also got to remember that DACA was signed by Obama without Congress support. Now the people who are in DACA are now suffering deportation because Obama didn't follow through and actually had Congress in the middle of it. So there's a lot that we can actually sit here and help people. What's that?
I don't support DACA. And if you're running to get rid of that, I'd highly suggest that.
You know what? I don't support the values and what DACA stood for. I don't think there's a free ride for anybody. We didn't come here on a free ride, and I don't think anybody should get a free ride here. We should come to the United States to come and work. I'm not against legal immigration. I'm against illegal immigration.
I'm against kind of both, or legal immigration restricted significantly. Look, it doesn't help out the worker. If you want to look at somebody who actually opposed legal immigration. This might shock you. The hero of labor, Cesar Chavez, opposed it because it broke up strikes.
He did. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know about Cesar Chavez that you would look and say, really? He did that? But yeah, he did. And you're right. He actually opposed immigration. He opposed, at that program was the Barrera program. He actually opposed it because he was talking that it would take people's wages and lower their wages here. And it created a lot of misconcept of who he is and what he was standing for.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why, just like Cesar Chavez, I'm looking out for the American worker, and I think that's why we as the Republican Party need to be tough against immigration.
Well, I tell you what, here in 2 more weeks, I'll have a game plan put together on what we're doing. Why don't you come back on my show then? We'll discuss what I'm running on. And then I'd be happy to go on your show and we could discuss it on all your audience and take a look at it.
Yep. That sounds great.
Because right now it's premature of me saying what I'm running on when we have to look at all the issues and look at what we stand for compared to what that district that we're running for needs help with. Because to win a seat, you have got to know what that district and what people need and what they want to be able to help them.
Yep. I think that's a good plan.
So why don't we get back together around right after the 15th of the month, which is a Saturday. The next Thursday, we'll go on together.
Sure.
All right, and then have some questions ready, and I'll be ready to answer, and I'll be ready to tell you which district and what I'm running on.
All right.
All right?
That's the plan.
All right, well, I appreciate you coming on, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See ya.
See you later. So there everybody has it. Kind of like the cat's out of the bag. We are looking at Congress. Most likely is the way we're going to go. We already have a district picked out that we're leaning towards. I live in a district right now where Tom McClintock is the congressman. So we're not really trying to run against another Republican. We actually want to flip a seat so that we can get ahead on the House and help the people who are in office in Congress be able to move forward and be able to help better our country. I want to thank everybody for joining us. In 2 weeks, I will have a definite area of where I'm running, what I'm doing. Please join us. I'll be back next week. We'll catch up on stuff. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please feel free to put on the comments. I will get back to everybody on them. As of right now, we're looking at running for Congress. We'll have more people on here in the next few weeks, and we'll discuss our platform, what we're running on, and what district we're running. I want to thank everybody out there that watches my videos, shares them and likes them, who has donated to my gubernatorial candidate. Please keep donating because we're going to need it for this fight. Whether you're in that district that I'm running or not, we're going to need your help because it takes money to win elections. Thank you guys. Thank you for your support. Gino, thank you for your support. I know that you're coming up with some biofuel stuff for houses, which will help everybody in this and everywhere in the United States. Ralph, I'll be seeing you around, buddy, because I'm in Northern California, so I'm not going anywhere. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. My name is Diego Martinez, Waking Up California. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys very much. Be safe out there.